Hello and welcome. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the price of a new roof. So this is new construction from the ground up, and the price of this roof is $2,200. So let me break this down for you so you have an idea how this works out. So this roof that we're building is a 412 pitch, and it took 12 squares to do this roof. And what a square means in roofing terms is an area of the roof that is 10 feet by 10 feet. So that's what a square means. And it took about 12 squares to do this. And the shingles, the price for those 12 squares were about $1,200 because the way right now the market is, each square, it comes out to about $100. It just all depends, obviously, on what kind of shingles you get. But these are architectural shingles, and that's what the price is. So then you're going to have to spend some money for the ridge vents, which go towards the top of the house, and that help your house to breathe. And that's the way I like my homes. I like my homes to breathe. So any kind of moisture condensation has a chance to dry out and evaporate. And the ridge vents are about $8, $9, $10 a piece, and you don't need many of them here. And you also need some nails to nail the shingles down. So that's about $100 between the ridge vents and the nails. And then you're going to, the rest of that $2,200 is going to be your labor, which were $900. So $900 for labor, $100 for the ridge vent and nails, and $1,200 for the shingles, for the 12 squares of shingles. So that's how it all comes together to a $2,200 roof. So that's what happens with new construction. It's usually cheaper than if you wanted to replace an existing roof, if your roof is older and it needs to be replaced. Because if you're replacing a new existing roof, you have to keep in mind that you will have to take the old shingles down or the metal down, or kind of whatever roof you have, and then you have to dispose of that material. And if you're disposing of shingles, those things are very heavy, and especially on the size of the roof, depends what kind of house you have. It can cost you a couple of $100 strictly in dumping the old shingles at a trash dump or transfer station or whatever you have around your house. So you have to keep that in mind, that the dump bill alone can be $200-300. And then obviously you have to take a look at what kind of the roof, what kind of shape it is underneath, and if anything needs to be repaired or touched up. And then you would finally start to do the new roof. So replacing an existing roof is always going to be more expensive than a new roof. That's just how it works. And with this roof here, as you can see, the guy's walking on top of it. Since it's a 412 pitch, it is very easily walkable. So you don't have to worry about strapping yourself in. I mean, any decent roofer can get on there without any strapping in and just knock out that roof in a very short amount of time. And speaking of time, this roof job took 2 hours and 45 minutes to be exact. So the guys came out at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and they were done a little bit before 11 o'clock in the morning. So less than 3 hours to do this roof. And this is what I mean when I talk about building the homes in a specific way that I build, and I try to keep things small and humble. This is exactly what I'm practicing, I guess what I'm preaching. Because if you keep the roof pitch to a low pitch, that means that job is not going to be difficult for whoever's doing your roof, and therefore that's going to reflect on the pricing that the roofer gives you. Because if this roof pitch was, let's say, for example, a 10-12 or a 12-12, the house would look a lot better. I do agree with that. You can even put a loft up there, so you get some additional storage. But the roofing job would be completely different. It would be a lot more. And then if you did a higher pitch roof on a house like this, since this is 24 feet wide, you can actually put an attic up there, or you can put a loft up there. So to some people, it actually might be worth it. And to be honest, if my budget was different, I would actually do that. Not on this build here, because I didn't want to block the lady's view, because that would be selfish, and I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to keep things affordable and keep the roof pitch low, so I didn't block the lady's view above me. But if this house was somewhere else, I would strongly actually consider doing something like that. So you can have just additional storage for a loft or just an attic, maybe put a little bedroom up there or something like that, and it would give you additional square footage to that house. So the footprint of the house would still be very small because this is 24 by 30. That is the footprint. So the foundation is fairly cheap, and if you're curious of how much that foundation was, just take a look at my previous videos and you can see all of that. So the foundation wouldn't change, but then you would gain additional storage or living space if you did a loft in this house. So it is possible. It would cost you more, and to some people it would be worth it, and some people would just want to have an affordable house, and they don't want to worry about the attic or the loft space, because then again you gotta heat it and cool it, and you have to finish it, so there's additional money you have to spend to finish that, put a floor on there, and then finish the ceilings and all that. So there's a lot of layers that would come with that loft. So not only you would have extra insulation, you would have also extra drywall or extra tongue and groove. You would have to put flooring up there. So there's a lot of little pieces, a lot of layers that would go into that. And that's what construction is all about. So you have to be really careful how you plan your budget, because I've seen many stories where people just jump into this kind of a situation and they don't have an idea, because they haven't done it before, how things really work in construction. And if you get yourself involved with a wrong contractor, they will tell you, oh, Mr. Customer, I can do whatever you like. But guess what? That whatever you like costs money. So if you tell this contractor that you want to do these extra things, then they'll do it for you, but obviously it's going to cost you more. So you have to keep that in mind at all times, to try to keep things humble and simple, so things don't get out of hand for you, and your budget doesn't, your money doesn't end. Because I've seen and I've heard many of stories as well that people start a house build and then they run out of money. And if you get yourself in that situation, that is not pretty, because then you got to figure out how are you going to finish that house when you just literally ran out of money because you started upgrading things, or you start putting things on your wish list and getting them done, that you could have maybe waited till the house is built and then do it after the construction is done with certain things, maybe like even a porch on this house. I'm not putting a porch on that front of that house strictly for the cost reasons, but to anyone in the future, it'll be very easy to take that eyebrow off that front of that house and then put a porch up there, because I actually left enough room on that front of the house so you can have a little porch and you can be overlooking this view that I'm showing you here. So I thought about that. And same thing with the back of the house. Once the grading gets done, because it's obviously still needs to be done here, you can also have additional storage in the back of that house. You can put a shed or something in the back of that house for storage, kind of like what we did with that house up there, up on that hill. So I try to think of all these things, that I don't do everything at once, because I'm looking at my budget, but I'm leaving it enough space. So I'm planning ahead that if somebody, whoever buys this house, they can actually do those things and they'll be fairly straightforward. And that, see that shed on the right there that we did in the back of the house? That was done after the sale of the house. The customer actually paid my framer to put that together. I wasn't even involved in that because I didn't want to collect any money off of it. At that point, I built the house, I was done, and I just connected my customer with my framer. And so that way my customer saves money. They don't have to pay me to oversee the project because it was so simple. So it just saves my customer some cash. And see, this is me buying pizza for the guys because they knocked out that roof in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So this is just the stuff that I do. That's just how I am. That's just how I work, and that's just the way I treat people. I do little, weird stuff like that. And this is how the roof turned out. So hopefully this episode helped you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And everything turned out great. It's absolutely perfect. Eventually, at some point, we will poke some holes in this brand new roof because we have to vent the plumbing. And that'll happen, I don't know, in a couple of episodes when the plumber comes back out and he starts doing a little bit more of the plumbing on the inside. He'll have to poke 2 holes to vent my bathrooms in this house. So you'll see that in the future. But other than that, everything turned out great. Here's the ridge vent. This is what I was talking about, how the house breathes. And I absolutely love how it turned out for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Not bad at all. And this is why I didn't want this roof pitch to be high, because I didn't want to block that view of that lady that lives right up there, straight ahead of her porch, because that just wouldn't be right. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.